And when I look at my career now in real estate and as an entrepreneur, I didn't go to business school. I was actually an art history major in college and interior design. But business school came to me through coaching. It taught me all of the principles of resilience and what grit looks like, the art of showing up, accountability, discipline. These are all, when I look at my business today, truly the pillars that allow me to be successful because they really taught me consistency from a very young age.
Hey, it's Melanie Johnson here. Thanks for joining us for another great podcast. Glad to have you today. So today we're diving in with a lady who is a successful entrepreneur. She's in the real estate business. She's overcome different adversities in her life. She's still struggling with Lyme disease, knows what it takes to be a business entrepreneur and a skier too, by the way. So let's welcome Athena Brownson to our stage today. Hi, Athena. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for having me and for the lovely intro. It definitely makes it sound like I've had multiple lives, and it kind of feels that way.
But tell us about your lives. How did you end up where you are today?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in a small mountain community. I'm in Denver now. So just west is Breckenridge, Colorado. And if you ski or snowboard, you've probably heard of it. But basically, that meant that I had a professional skier as a dad who was also a real estate developer and an interior designer as a mother. And I decided that skiing was going to be my thing, my passion from a very young age. So I learned how to ski when I pretty much learned how to walk. I believe I was just after 3 years old, put some skis on, and my dad pushed me down the mountain. And that really got me hooked. So by age 15, I went pro at skiing. I was able to travel the world, ski about 300 days a year for almost 10 years. But within that time period, had 9 ACL surgeries, a couple broken necks. I mean, you name it, I probably broke it. But at that time, it was, you're young, you know how to rehab things. It doesn't hurt as much because you're a little bit more pliable. I definitely feel those injuries now. But I was exposed to some of the most incredible coaching and mentorship that anyone could ever ask for. And when I look at my career now in real estate and as an entrepreneur, I didn't go to business school. I was actually an art history major in college and interior design. But business school came to me through coaching. It taught me all of the principles of resilience and what grit looks like, the art of showing up, accountability, discipline. These are all, when I look at my business today, truly the pillars that allow me to be successful because they really taught me consistency from a very young age. So once I, decided that it was time to hang up the ski boots, I believe it was after my 9th knee surgery, my doctor looked at me and said, Athena, you're going to need knee replacements before you're 25. Now, sit here. So I decided to hang up the boots. I worked in the world of interior design for a little while. I opened a couple of small businesses in Denver. And then I just happened into real estate. It was never a career that I expected to find myself in. I kind of had a negative connotation with realtors as just like used car salesmen. I think a lot of people do, honestly.
Yeah.
But I had an incredible conversation with the owner of a firm who really taught me the principles of relationship-based business. That conversation was a little over 11 years ago now, which is crazy. I quit my interior design job the next day. I got my real estate license and I hit the ground running. But as you said, it has had its fair share of road bumps, and I don't think life ever necessarily goes to plan. So we can get into that more, but that's a little background for you.
I love that. And I love how you learned, I think that's why sports are important for kids, or some kind of commitment when they're young, is to learn that commitment and have coaches. And you may have good coaches, you may have bad coaches, right?
Yeah.
But they both influence you in a way, and you learn from it, and you learn that success comes from being resilient. And I can't imagine having a broken neck, not once, but twice. I Oh my gosh, yeah, if you're just listening to this, she's got a scar across her throat there.
Uh,
That's serious stuff. So, let's dive into real estate. I got my real estate license, and I was always like, "Why did I do that?" Because you do have to upkeep it and all that stuff if you're not active. And as you say, it can be up and down, and not everyone is successful right away. Sometimes it takes a couple years to get going. Walk us through your journey as starting that, because I'm sure it wasn't you just turned on a faucet and everything was great.
Oh, I wish. I think
Yeah,
there's a lot of misconceptions that deals are just going to start falling in your lap when you get your real estate license, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Now, I was extremely fortunate in I found the gentleman that had sat me down and really talked to me about the way he ran his business from a place of relationship and not just a transaction.
yeah.
And I asked him, I said, "Can I shadow you? Can I follow everything that you do so that I
Mhm.
can learn?" Because when you go to real estate school, to be
Yeah.
honest, no one really learns anything that is useful. So
So true.
you learn
They
by
teach you all the
doing.
law stuff, right? You're like, "Oh, this law, this legal law, can you remember that?" And you're like,
Yeah,
"Who's gonna teach me how to sell and get leads and all of that?" Yeah.
actually run a
Close the
successful
deal.
business. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And so you really do, realtors are kind of let out into the wild without any real world experience.
Yeah.
And I found a mentor who allowed me to follow him on showings, to do open houses with him, listen in on phone calls with clients, do role playing, host, as many events as possible with him. I would just try and soak everything up like a sponge as much as I could. But you're
Yeah.
right, and that eventually got to the point where I was able to assist him on some of his deals because that allowed me to create a little bit of income while I was getting started. And that's the biggest challenge. Sometimes it can take a year or
Right.
two to really find your stride in real estate. But in an industry with so many ebbs and flows, I've found that the most critical piece to being successful and to kind of leveling out those ebbs and flows,
Mhm.
finding actions that you are authentic to you, that you'll be consistent with when it comes to client
Yeah.
outreach and prospecting and follow up, because there are so many shiny objects in real estate. There's so many ways to go about it that if you're not doing activities that are actually fulfilling to you, that you want to be doing, you're at the end of the day, you're not going to be consistent with them. And unfortunately, you're going to experience those big ebbs and flows in business.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey of finding those things for me.
Yeah, and I think that's true in any business. It's
Yeah,
finding your who is my ideal customer? What is my niche? Who am I focusing on? In real estate, it's the type of houses, right? Are you doing commercial? Are you doing residential? Are you doing high end? Are you doing median? Are you just trying to do everything when you get started?
yeah,
But then finding your voice too of your messaging and who you want to be. I've got a friend who's, he went from transition of a sales job he'd had forever to going into real estate, and he had to ask, who am I? How do I want to show up? I'm like the positive energy real estate guy, right? You have
yeah,
to know who you are and who you want to serve and how you're going to serve them. So I think that's so important
right.
of what you're doing. Yeah. And then figuring out social media, like how you're going to advertise and all of that's a huge thing. And how are you feeling? I mean, it's changed so much now that it's a buyer's agreement. So those of you who don't know, real estate has changed. It used to be it was 6% and the seller would pay the 6%. And now this new law came in. Are you doing any buyer agreements? How are you handling where now the buyer is having to put up the 3%? Not in every case, but that's the way they're positioning it.
Yeah, every deal is very much negotiable and very different. But in my
Mhm.
market specifically, I've been fortunate that I have not had to have a single buyer pay the commission. And I
That's
think
good.
that is really critical right now while interest
Yeah,
rates are higher, because, you already they're already paying closing costs and a
right.
higher interest rate and every little thing that goes into purchasing a house. So
Yeah,
to have to bring another 3% to the table that was not necessarily anticipated is something that could really make or break a deal for
for
someone.
sure.
So it's really important for the agent to be able to, you know, have a really great conversation with the listing agent about what they charge, what the value is, and how they're going to do the transaction. And,
Yeah.
because of that, we've been fortunate, and I've just written into my contracts that seller will be paying commissions, and it's gone so far. So let's knock on wood, it stays that way.
Yeah, I think it helps bring the buyers in. As long as the sellers are still on board of doing that, then it just gonna help you bring the buyers in when you do it. So it's even though they've changed the law, the
Yeah.
realtors have to say, "You changed it, we're still doing it the same way that we've always done it." It's kind of bucking it in the way or using the workaround for just in case. You've had to go through quite a few adversities. I mean, between, the broken bone surgeries, neck surgeries, and now you had gotten Lyme's disease. I don't know how long ago you got that.
Yeah.
What would you tell people to get over things and get over adversity? What has gotten you through your adversities?
That's a great question. Thank you so much, Melanie. And honestly, yeah, I went from being a very, high performing professional athlete to about
Yeah.
2 years into my real estate career, which was 9 years ago. I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and I had never even heard of Lyme disease. I've never even seen a tick. I have no idea when I was bit by a tick, but I was. And my life did a complete 180. Within a couple of months, I was almost incapacitated. I was told that I should go on bed rest and pretty much check out. And I knew for me that if I didn't keep myself goal oriented and motivated and looking forward,
Yeah.
there was nothing positive that was going to, happen within my healing journey. So for
Yeah.
me, it really came down to, and I think for anyone going through adversity, and we all
Mhm.
go challenges
Yeah.
in life, whether it's relational or in your job, the
Sure.
real estate market, health, injury, anything you could think of. Life never goes to plan, unfortunately. But I honestly believe that these are the moments in our lives that allow us to grow. They're the moments that challenge
Mhm.
us because it makes you want to kind of quit and give up. And I think for
Yeah.
me, the key was having a why. What is my purpose? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What am I passionate about? Being able to be in an industry where I was able to create an incredible team of support around me so that I knew, if I needed to be in the hospital for a couple of days, that I had a team backing me up. That was huge. So
Yeah.
who is your support system? Then it came down to my clients are my world, being able to help people with one of the largest investments that they make in their life, whether it's buying or selling or investing or developing something that, being able to educate through that process and really guide them to make it a stressful thing, as stress
Mhm.
free as possible, is so gratifying to me. And I'm
Yeah.
very authentic in the way that I do express what it is that I'm going through health wise. There are going to be days when I'm getting a plasma
Yeah.
transfusion, for instance, and you're going to be working with my business partner. So just
Yeah.
having really open lines. Really, for me, it came down to, I didn't necessarily always have a positive attitude about what I was going through. I was really
Mm.
struggling with it. But when I looked, kind of
Yeah.
started coming up for air, I looked around and realized that I had the most incredible support system and that I had a career
Mhm.
that I absolutely loved. And these were the two things
Yeah.
that when it felt like I couldn't keep going or keep getting up in the morning, that
Yeah.
this would get me out of bed. And honestly, I think being sick, I would never wish it on anyone, but I think any adversity, it really gives you the opportunity to dig deep within yourself and find out what you're made out of. Like, who are you? And what are you learning from this so you can be a better version of yourself on the other side?
That is so true, and I think so many people go, "Poor pitiful me," instead of, "What can I learn? How can I grow? How can I turn this negative into a positive? How do I look for the solutions in it?" And I really love that, you set goals. So you made goals for yourself for something to look forward to, as well as having people around you, that can help support you and have that team of whether it's for your business or family or friends, and having that positive influence makes a big, huge difference.
Absolutely.
Let's jump into marketing. Being a realtor, you have to learn how to market. Not everyone's a marketer, but you seem to do a really good job at that. Tell us your strategy for marketing yourself. And you're developing a personal brand, not just a realtor. Like when I look at your social media, you're really developing a voice just about business, leadership, overcoming adversity, not just, hey, I'm selling houses, right?
Yeah,
So
thank
talk to
you.
speak to that.
Yeah, figuring out again what your niche is in how you want to present yourself, how you want to show up, and then creating goals for yourself that actually have actionable steps to follow them. So you're not just setting a goal, putting it out there, I'm going to post on social media once a day, but you're not actually creating an actionable plan. So for
Yeah.
me, it became really important to take some time and really think about how I wanted to show up to the world.
Yeah.
And for me, it's really important to show up authentically. Like I want people to know the who I am, the real me, understand my challenges, understand
Uh,
my triumphs, be able to share these things. And I found that I'm not afraid to get in front of a camera. So for me, I love to be able to educate my listeners, my followers on not just real estate, but like you said, leadership skills, the importance of
mhm.
mentorship, just anything that I believe will give someone one little
Yeah.
takeaway,
Mhm.
the opportunity to empower them to better themselves. So I make one video a day and I post it on
Wow.
all my social media platforms. And, it varies from everything like explaining real estate terminology to really motivational speaking on overcoming adversity and how you're going to grow through challenges. So, getting comfortable with who you are and what you have to say, but understanding that you need to have that clear identity that you
Yeah.
are wanting to portray, and that really is where I found my happy place.
I love it. Now, do you come for people looking to post once a day? Do you script things out ahead of time? Do you make a plan for the month or the week? Or are you kind of, I think today I'm going to talk about this?
I wish I was a little bit more structured. I think in the world of real estate, it does get challenging to cons- consistency can be challenging. And I do
Yeah.
follow something called a greatness tracker that helps me outline every activity that I should be doing each day. So is always every other day to film 2 to 3 videos. So to batch content. And rather than writing out scripts necessarily, I
Yeah.
will usually be writing in my phone notes different ideas for videos that I think would be a great idea. Now, for
That's
someone who's looking for scripting and not just improv, chat GPT, put in your idea, let them know who your audience is. This is what the message that I'm trying to portray. These are the 3 key points that I want to hit. Please create a script for me. And
mhm.
I have done this in the past. And obviously, you put your own spin on it. I think it's
Mhm.
important to find your own voice. But there are so many tools and resources out there today that we can use. And for example, I don't post my social media videos, every day. If I did, it would probably take me way too long. I'd
Yeah.
overthink it. One, I believe in the rule of film it once, and if you got it right the first time, you said everything you wanted to say. It might not be perfect, but don't
Yeah.
even watch it. Just upload it and have it edited or edit it yourself, and then use an app such as Sendable where you can schedule
Yeah.
your content to get posted, so you're not spending 30 minutes to an hour a
Yeah.
day posting on social media. It's just a waste of our time.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming. It's great if you have a team, that can help you. And then I even find sometimes, like you say, I'm just going to do it. And then I just post it myself. I'm like, I'm just going to put it up there. I don't care if it's edited or not. I'm just going to, boom, it's done.
It's great. And that's authentic. People can feel that you're coming from a place of authenticity. It's not fake. It's not overproduced. It's not AI.
No,
I've been seeing a lot of AI videos, and they're very convincing. I'm pretty amazed. But I love that. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and I hope if you're listening, you're empowered to start shooting those videos and doing and creating that content. And I always tell people, hey, there's a delete button for a reason. If you don't like it, because they're like,
Amen.
"Oh my gosh, I'm gonna do it," but just delete it if you don't like it and keep doing it, and the more you do it, the gold is in repetition. The more you do it, the better you get at it, and just keep doing it and getting yourself out there is, I think, the biggest key. And then I tell people, we're in the publishing business where people are making books, so if you can create content with a purpose and say, "Let me do an outline for my book," and then each thing that I'm posting is going to be part of this. This is all going to be part of chapter 1. This content this week is all going to be part of chapter 2. And then the next thing you have a book. You just have to transcribe it and edit it, because otherwise there's, oh my gosh, a book is so big of a thing to do. You're posting video anyways. You're making content anyways. There's a
I
word called
love
repurpose.
this.
So like you post so many times, you could even take your content and turn it into blog posts, turn it into articles. So it's really the
Brilliant.
same content, but
Yeah,
people consume content in different ways. Not everyone's looking
absolutely.
at Instagram. Some people are reading articles on LinkedIn. So, it's the same content, but you're just putting it in a different format to reach different audiences. That's why there's audiobooks and paperback books and ebooks, right? And YouTube
It's
video. Everyone goes somewhere different.
It's incredible. And our access to information and platforms right now is something that should not be taken for granted, because
Yeah.
we do have so many ways to connect with people. And that's where understanding your
Yeah.
demographic really comes into play. But honestly, you just gave me the best tip I could have ever asked for, because I've been, sitting down trying to think about how to begin writing a book. And I'm like, it's such an overwhelming, daunting process. But hey, why not start there? That's a brilliant idea. Thank you so much. I will give you that credit.
You're welcome. And I'll give you another tip since we're here. We call it the 10 by 3 rule. So come up, I'm sure, especially with your life, because it's not just about real estate. Think of all the frequently asked questions you get all the time.
Yeah,
Like even on this interview, really, what did you have to overcome? How did you get started? So if you answer those questions and then have stories to go with them, then you're answering these questions all the time. That's what people want to know.
yeah,
And then I always say there's the should ask questions. If they knew what you knew, this is what they would be asking me.
I love that.
Think
Golden
about that, and
advice.
then the answers to the questions and the stories that go with it. And that'll help give you like a rough outline for your book as well.
Yeah,
So,
you just inspired me so much. I'm ready to just go start right after this.
yay.
I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Awesome. Tell people where they can reach out to you and connect with you.
Yes, everyone, please feel free to reach out regarding anything. I'm going to send you to my website because it has all my social media platforms, my phone number, my email. So don't be shy. It is www.athena, Athena, Brownson, Brownson, realtor.com.
Wonderful. We'll reach out to her and connect with Athena and check her out on Instagram. She's got a great Instagram as well. So
Thank
thanks,
you.
Athena, for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure having you. And remember, if you're looking to write a book, come to us at Elite Online Publishing. We help you write, publish, and market your book to become a bestseller and award-winning author. Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.